we had in 2011 a Bigfoot encounter. And I'll give you the short version because it was over 2 summers. We had like first summer, real light stuff was happening.
You say just around like Ada, like you're saying.
So my family.
Oh, your family.
We had a large farm. We had one, and we were part of one of the biggest woods in Hardin County.
Okay.
So we actually had some tree cover. So let's say we had 15 acres of pasture and fence and stuff like that. And then we had like 45 acres of this chunk of woods we owned, plus this giant woods that was attached to the stuff we didn't own.
And you just revealed to me today that there was a fresh spring back there.
There's a lot of them. We fell in one.
So how many acres in total?
It's hard because it's like a very, you've seen, everybody at home's maybe not seen it, but very zigzaggy woods. But it's just very wide for a Northwest Ohio woods. Yeah.
But
I'm going to say 400 or 500 acres.
That's a pretty good chunk.
The largest one in our county by a long shot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We owned a section of it. We had, so the first year, let's say May to like October, tree stacks in our yard, and we thought it was each other. I have 3 biological siblings, 2 adopted siblings. We all had our own farm projects.
In tree stacks, in
like
shapes?
In the fences. No, so we'd have like garbage and stuff from the property shoved in piles in random locations around the farm. And it made no sense. And we thought we were screwing with each other. Like, we thought, okay, Luke's screwing with me.
Like made a pile of leaves or branches? Or
no, like 2x4s, buckets. Like I'm saying, like randomly, whatever you could pick up walking around a farm. And it was probably in one of these stacks at one point. And that happened all summer. And then I had basically what was a wood knocking event that was coming at me. The dogs are freaked out. My buddy Nick, his dad, was our neighbor from like kind of our country neighbor. So we couldn't see his house, but he came, checked the house out. There was knuckle marks like 8 foot off the ground on the barn where the thing was punching the barn. The horses actually broke out. It scared the horses so bad.
Wow.
So then like October, all stopped. All the weirdness stopped. Go all the way back again to May. I bred competitive chickens. That's going to sound weird. I told you I was a weird kid.
Vietnamese lungworms and competitive chickens.
4-H, right? Were you in 4-H?
Yeah.
Yeah. But our buddy raised pigs and cows.
So I had some chickens that were worth $900 a piece. I bred for fancy show.
Dude, yes.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
But I had $2 chickens too. So
you got a wide variety of chickens.
I got
$2
chickens too.
I got $90 chickens.
Eggs,
I got $2 chickens.
So some of these chickens are $900. So they were basically in Fort Knox for chickens with electrified fence, all this stuff, and it's like a house because they made money. They were profitable birds.
Right.
So we couldn't lose if you lost one of these to a raccoon. That's you can lose almost $1,000 plus the breeding potential.
Yeah.
You lose your $2 chicken, it doesn't matter.
Right.
They're going to hatch more out. It doesn't. It's not that big a deal. So we had these chickens go missing, and they weren't being killed in the coop. They were being taken. So this coop had a door, and this gigantic lid to get to the eggs. You had to be a person to get into this thing. Like that's the only way you could have done it. Like the fence is electrified. Every little nook and cranny there was electric wire running all the way around it. So let's say a fox tried to get up in one of the corners. So foxes in the Ys of the top of the barns, and raccoons will try to get up in these corners. So we had electric wire running through there. So they stuck their snout in there.
You're getting zapped. Yeah.
Those chickens are going missing. So we went and bought a monster. We bought a red heeler from the Amish. Her name was Lucy. She was the devil.
Yeah, Stoner has a blue heeler.
Yeah, they're evil, aren't they?
He's nodding.
Yeah.
Cuba,
they have a job.
Oh, yeah, they're very focused.
So
hyper-focused.
She learned. Yeah. So she would, this giant farm we had, she would never go in the woods. She'd walk this edge line constantly.
Just patrolling.
Yeah. And she'd killed, like, one day, me and my mom, she'd come up back to the house covered in blood, this dog. We're like, oh, gosh, something got this dog about dead. Couldn't find a scratch on her.
Yeah.
Killed 2 coyotes. Just ripped them apart.
Damn.
And everything had to be in the barn at night. She'd put everybody in. This is kind of a fun story. My mom went to open the barn and let everybody out in the morning. A bunch of deer ran out. They had gotten to the pasture, and she's like, you're going in the barn. If you're going to act like a horse, you're going in with the horses.
Put him in the barn with him. That's awesome. Damn.
So Lucy was this monster. But the problem that would happen is that, so I kind of left out. I'm trying to give the short version of the story. My dad installed big stadium lights around the property because me and my mom showed horses. So we'd work the horse at night so they wouldn't overheat, that kind of stuff. You know, it's just easier to work an animal.
Sure.
So they don't get horses overheat super easy.
Yeah.
And once they overheat, you know, they can die very quickly. They have a lot of trouble cooling back down. So we just work them at night. And we had these big horse trails and four-wheeler trails cut into the woods, so there'd be no trees. So Lucy'd walk around at night. The only problem she'd have is something wouldn't run all the way into the woods. If it went up a tree on the edge, she'd bark all night.
Couldn't take it.
Yeah.
She thought, you're coming down here and you're going to be in my garden.
Yeah, you should have ran into the woods. You should have gone back.
Wow.
So me and my brother would have to go down and knock him out with baseball bats and club. Like, just because if she didn't kill it, she wasn't going to shut up.
Yeah.
So we go down, and Lucy's just standing there on the edge barking like she does a bunch of times. And she's looking straight up. But the weird thing is she's standing in one of these four-wheeler trails. So there's no trees. So that's like, what is it? And then me and Luke are about 30 feet away from Lucy. And we both stopped by. I said, Luke, stop. These giant chartreuse eyes, 3-4 inches apart, are looking down at Lucy. Blink real slow. Blink real slow. Blink, and then staring right at me and Luke.
Damn.
And I was like, we were shaking. And I was like, don't turn your back, don't run. That made it for like 10 feet. And then we came in the house crying. I was 17 at this point.
Right. Shook you to the core, though.
Yeah, so my dad was done. We'd been on the assumption this was a man the entire time, screwing with us, destroying property.
Right.
This is a man. So Dad gets the gun, and me and Luke stand on the front porch, and he walks down, and Lucy's still standing right in that same spot, barking. Dad's like, you mother effer, you're coming out right now. You've scared my kids. You've tortured us for 2 years. We're done with this. I'm going to start shooting in the woods. You know, count 1, 2, 3 kind of deal. Nobody came out.
Yeah.
So Dad's like, all right. And Dad pointed to the top of the trees and shot. Instantly, just like 10 feet from him, like a bison was ripping through the woods.
Just took
straight
off.
Line. And he fell backwards. He ran up the house. All he would say is, oh, it wasn't a man.
It just wasn't a man. Something big, like
so
to make that
we actually
sound.
seen the outline. I never seen like any detail, but just monstrous. Just hulking. And we went back the next day, measured like 7 foot tall. And we actually ended up moving out of that property that year.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's the really long way to answer your question is, no, I didn't believe in Bigfoot. I seen Bigfoot, didn't believe in Bigfoot because I wasn't supposed to because of the field I was going into.
Right.
And then
being a
So
biologist.
you had a personal encounter and still tried to deny it.
Yeah, just anything.
Wow.
It was
logical. Your logical mind kicks
not supposed to.